Now, Delbonis and Carballes Baena, they're facing in the first round of the Andalucia Open that's happening in Spain. So let's start with Delbonis, how he's been this year. So Delbonis on the clay courts, he's not been bad. I think he made the semis of Chile. Yeah, he did. He made the semis of the Chile Open. He lost to Benes in straight sets, but it was a good win for. It was a good run from Delbonis because he beat Monar, he beat Marin, and then he beat the upcoming prodigy Ruud in straight sets. So he's playing. So he's playing well, and he'll be confident because this is another match on clay that he's going to be contesting as well. Now, Baena, he has had, I guess, a decent year this year. But let's go through his results. He's played in several challenger events. In Cordoba, he lost to Montero in straight sets, so that wasn't a challenger event, that was a main draw event. In Argentina, he lost to Montero again. And in Chile, he managed to made the quarterfinals, but he lost to Gallen in straight sets. And he played 2 challenger events, and he wasn't really able to get too far in that. So he's gonna have to, even though he lost to opponents that are kind of tough, he's gonna have to set up his game if he wants to beat Delbonis. Delbonis is also a very tough opponent, especially with his, his forehand and all of that. He's a very tough opponent to face. But also, Baena is also good on clay, so he'll be confident of being able to win this match. So Delbonis and Baena, they have met 3 times, and Delbonis has won all their meetings. So in Sao Paulo, Delbonis won that one 6-4, 6-4. In Cordoba, Delbonis won that one 6-7, 6-2, 6-2. And in Rio de Janeiro, in the Brazil clay court event in 2020 in Rio, Delbonis won that one 6-2, 6-4. So Delbonis has the head-to-head advantage, and he's only dropped 1 set to Baena. So the question is going to be, can Baena turn this around? What's going to happen? So right now, as I kind of said in my last video I made, I picked the player because of the head-to-head. I'm going to do the same thing here. I think Delbonis has the head-to-head advantage, and I think he's shown some good form this year. While Baena hasn't really done so well on the clay courts this year so far, but Delbonis has made it at least to the semis in Chile, and coupled with that, the head-to-head, I'm going to go with Delbonis in straight sets. I think that Delbonis will win this match. I think he's going to win it in straight sets because he knows how to beat Baena in straights now. He's done it twice, and also because he has been in better form than Baena has been on the clay this year. So my prediction is Delbonis in straight sets. So Holger Rune and Kwon, they're facing off in the first round. Now, Rune is a prodigy in the sport. He's definitely going to go far. He's only 17 now. So, and he's already in main draws of tour events. So, he's definitely going to go far in the future. And he plays Kwon in the first round, and he's gone through many. He's played some clay court events this year. In Argentina, he took a set from Ramos Vinolas before losing to him in 3. And then in Chile, he also made the quarterfinals. Coming from qualifying, he made the quarters before losing to Delbonis 6-3, 3-6, 3-6. So it's looking like he's in good form now. It's looking like on clay, he also plays really well. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can transfer that. Sorry, it's going to be interesting to see if he can do well in this tournament too. Since he got a wild card into this tournament, it's going to be able to see if he can cause a slight upset against Kwon. Now Kwon, he's not played on clay yet. He's only played in hardcourt events so far. but he's done well on some of them. He lost to Kecmanovic 6-3, 6-4, 6 in the round in the Great Ocean Road Open, but that was a hard. But Kecmanovic is a good player, so no shame in that. Kokkinakis, he lost to him 4-6, 1-6, 1-6 in the first round of the Australian Open, and then he won the Challenger event in Italy. So against Lorenzo Musetti in straight sets 6-2, 6-3. So he won a Challenger event. In Singapore, he made the quarterfinal and he had some match points against Cilic, but he wasn't able to convert them, so he lost it. But it was a good fight because Cilic is a Grand Slam champion. Yeah, he was still able to take him to 3 sets, so props to him. And then he also made the quarterfinals of in Kazakhstan, I believe. And then in Miami, he lost to Ivashka in 3 sets, but he's done well because he won a Challenger event in Europe this year, and he's also had some quarterfinal appearances in other events. So that's a good start for Kwon because we don't know much about his clay court prowess. So I've only seen him really on hard courts. I don't know how much about his clay court prowess. So we're gonna see what happens. Now, Kwon and Rune, they've never met, so their head-to-head record is 0-0. Or actually, let's just be sure because yeah, they've never met before. So their head-to-head record is 0-0 here. So my prediction here, I think that Rune is gonna cause the upset. He's a great prodigy. He's a bright future in the sport, and I think he's also gonna cause the upset simply because I don't think Kwon is so good on clay. I haven't seen him on clay yet, and I'm not confident to pick him when I don't really know much about his clay court abilities yet. So as a result, I'm gonna pick Rune to win this in straight sets. I know it's a weird pick, but and you can call me crazy for it if you like, but I'm gonna pick him in straight sets because I don't think Kwon is so good on clay. I think he thrives more on the hard courts, but I don't know yet if he's good because I haven't really seen him play on clay, but I'm going to pick Rune to win this in straight sets because I think Kwon is better on the hard court. I'm going to pick Rune in straight sets here. So, Facundo Bagnis and Francisco Cerundolo, they're facing off in the first round of the Andalucia Open. It's a new event that's happening. It's happening in Spain, and it's a new event, I guess, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. It's being hosted because of the cancellation of some tournaments this year for the clay court season. So let's start with Bagnis. So he has been in good form this year. While on the hard courts, he wasn't really seen much. On the clay courts, he wasn't. This is a clay court event, so that's what we're going to be focused on. So in Cordoba, he made the semis. He lost to Ramos Vinolas in 3 sets. In Argentina, he lost in the first round, but he lost to Francis Tiafoe, who is not so bad on clay. Then in Chile, he now made it to the final in Chile, and he lost to Garrett in 3 sets. So he's been in good form this year, and and he's looking like, and he could be a dark horse in the draw if he's in his best form too, because he could sneak through the draw, especially he could go around upsetting some people who are not as good on clay, who may be better on the hard court. Some of the top seeds who on the hard court may be much better than on clay, he can go and upset them and maybe sneak through the draw. Now Cerundolo, he's also been in good form. He is a young player with a bright future. He's extremely good on, he's especially good on clay, and he's done well, especially on the clay courts. In Argentina, he made it to the final of the Argentina Open, and he lost to Schwartzman in straight set, but it was still a good match from Cerundolo, because even though he lost in straight sets to Schwartzman, he made it to the final, so he shows that he's in good form, and he could also sneak through, especially if he can get through Bagnis as well. So it remains to see what is going to happen in this match. Now, Bagnis and Cerundolo, I don't think that they've ever met on the main tour before, but they met in a challenger event in Brazil, And I think that Cerundolo won that one in straight sets 6-2, 7-5. So I guess that Cerundolo does have a head-to-head win over Bagnes. So I want to state again that if you didn't, the head-to-head, they haven't met on the main tour before, but they did meet in a challenger event, and Cerundolo won that one 6-2, 7-5. So that was the only evidence we have here. So this one is a tough one to call, right? Like I'm torn on this one. This one is really a tough match to call because I don't really, while they've been in good form this year, I don't know what they're gonna bring to this tournament. I'm not sure what's gonna happen so far. But I'm going to slide with Cerundolo simply because he beat him in a challenger event last time. And I think he knows how to beat Bagnes, even though Bagnes is now in better form, I guess, than he was then. I think he can still win because of. I'm just going to slide with him because of the head-to-head. I think the head-to-head is what I'm going to use to determine. So since Cerundolo has a win over Bagnes in a challenger event, and since that event was also on clay, I'm going to pick Cerundolo to win this in 3 sets, though. I think it will be much tougher than the last time, but it will be a 3-set win for Cerundolo. So, Cerundolo in 3 sets. So, Mikhail Kukushkin and Major, they're facing off in the first round of the Andalucia Open. And I said in one of my previous parts of the video that this tournament was organized for, because of the cancellation of some tournaments in the COVID-19 pandemic. They organized it as kind of like a makeup tournament for people to gain points and for players to be able to maybe gain a little money to. Yeah, so, but let's start with Kukushkin's results first. Let's start business as usual. We're going to go through his results. So Kukushkin hasn't really had the best year this year. He's only won 2 matches. His first match he won against Londero, who was a clay court specialist, but he lost to Wawrinka in 3 sets. And then the second match that he won was in Miami, and he won that one against Jack Draper, but that was a retirement. Draper had to retire due to, I guess, succumbing to the heat. And Karatsev beat Kukushkin 6-4, 6-3 in a tight match, but still, Kukushkin isn't really in great form now. And Clay's. I don't think he's really so good on clay because his flat he hits really flat compared to the rest of the tour, and his flat ground strokes are mostly rewarded on hard courts and grass courts. But on clay, he's not really as good because those flat ground strokes are not rewarded on clay. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen with him if he can win this. But he'll have his work cut out for him because he's playing a player that is better on clay. Now, Major, he did well on Delray Beach. He reached the quarterfinal, but that was a hard court event. He's actually, right now, he's playing in the Challenger in Spain right now. So he's actually playing it's actually in the same city that this tournament is going on. It's in Andalucia. So Major is actually going to be playing the final tomorrow against Munar at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. He's going to be playing the final tomorrow. So it shows like he's in some form. He reached the final of the clay court challenger he's playing, and we don't know his result yet, but he did reach the final of it. He's in the final. And aside from that, he hasn't really done so well. In the Golden Tour, I just checked, he didn't do so well in his results. He lost to Cerundolo in 3 sets in Cordoba. In Argentina, he won against Caruso, but lost to Andujar in straight sets. And then in Chile, he lost to Coria in 3 sets. So he hasn't done well there. But in the challenger events, he made the quarterfinal, and then now he's in the final. So he's doing well in a challenger event. So it's showing that he's getting back his good form that maybe from 2020 that made him reach the final of Rio. So we're gonna see. We just have to wait and see what happens with this. Now, Major and Kukushkin, they did meet in a challenger event, but that was way back in 2017. And Kukushkin won that one 6-4, 6-0. And it was on the clay court event, so it may give Kukushkin some confidence that maybe he can win it. So right now, this one is a tough one to call, right? I have a feeling that Kukushkin will win this because of the head-to-head, but I'm gonna stick with Major because Major is just better on the clay. He's just a better clay court player. Kukushkin isn't really so good at clay because he's not his style of play is not really rewarded on the surface. While Major is much better on the clay. He's much more comfortable. And while Kukushkin won their last meeting, Major has grown since that time that they played in 2017. He wasn't as good, but now he's grown. He's improved his game. So he's no longer that player that he was then. So now I'm going to pick Major to win this in 3 sets. I think Kukushkin will get a set, maybe because of the head-to-head. But I'm going to pick Major to win this one in 3 sets. So, just one look at Major in a 3-set win is my pick.